Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you all are doing well. I am Kirti and I am joined by Ms. Priyanka from Team Luneblaze. She will be guiding us through a brief about Luneblaze. We are excited to welcome you to another session today organized on Pedagogy and Assessment in SQAA Domain 1. It is an immense pleasure to have you all with us. So, before we actually dive into the session, let me take a moment to introduce you all to Luneblaze. With over 8+ years of experience in accreditation services, Luneblaze has worked closely with more than 100 schools, helping them to maintain the quality of their education while continuously improving it as well. And talking about accreditation, as you all must be already knowing, accreditation is the official process that checks if an educational institution meets certain standards and ensures that it provides quality and trustworthy education. Since accreditation is now mandatory for all CBSE schools, the SCORE framework has been introduced by CBSE. In this context, Loonblaze is here to be the support to schools by automating as well as streamlining their SCORE implementation journey, ensuring seamless compliance with CBSE standards, and helping the schools to enhance their educational quality. At Loonblaze, we also organize monthly SCORE training sessions focused on various domains of SCORE individually. With these sessions, our goal is to offer educators valuable suggestions for improvement of each and every standard of SCORE. These sessions provide educators with a platform to connect with fellow and enhancing their teaching strategies to meet the evolving needs of students and education. Additionally, you will gain expert guidance from our respected expert speakers who have years of experience and expertise in the field of education. So, moving ahead, let me take a moment to introduce you all to our honorable expert speaker for today's session, Dr. Abhishek Sharma. Uh, he is the principal advisor at EDIFY Group of Schools, CBSE score trainer, and ISO certified trainer, advanced Lean Six Sigma certified trainer, having 24 years of experience in CBSE, CAIE, and ICSE boards. It's a privilege to have Dr. Abhishek sharing their valuable insights on pedagogy and assessment in SCORE Domain 1 with all present here. In today's session, let's begin with an introduction to the Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs, with a foundational understanding of their importance. Following that, we'll dive into a brief recap of the score, covering all the 7 domains in order. Next, we'll look into the score domain 1 and its subdomains with a particular focus on pedagogy and assessment. We'll also go over a deep analysis of pedagogy, followed by discussion on some important aspects such as lesson plans and more. Similarly, we'll see an in-depth analysis of assessment, followed by some important aspects of assessment such as holistic progress cards, HPCs, and more. Then, connecting theory with practice, we'll discuss a case study illustrating how pedagogy and assessment can be effectively aligned in schools and what is the crucial role in this process. After that, we'll have an interactive Q&A session where Dr. Abhishek will answer any one or two most common questions. Finally, we'll wrap up by summarizing the value points from the entire session and studying the essential documents, evidence for Domain 1 submission. We'll also discuss the CBSE inspection process and the latest CBSE circular on SCORE. Again, moving ahead, we'll see how Loonblaze supports schools in SCORE implementation, along with the SCORE session series organized regularly by Loonblaze. Finally, we'll conclude with another Q&A session addressing all the remaining questions. So, after outlining the entire sequence of the session, I would like to encourage all here to actively participate and ask questions in the chat box. Also, in the final Q&A session, participants with any questions in the chat box are welcome to interact verbally with Dr. Abhishek to clear their doubts, and stay tuned until the end for details regarding the feedback forms and participation certificates. With all that said, I would like to welcome Dr. Abhishek Sharma. So, over to you, sir. The session is yours.
Thank you so much, Team Luneblaze, and a very warm good evening to all of you. Can you please, in the chat box, can you just, put in the waving hand? Good afternoon, everybody. Oh, is it good afternoon or good evening? Difficult time. Thank you so much. I've got a wonderful audience today, and today's session is going to be wonderful with all your wonderful support. And today's session is basically focusing a very important part, that is SQA with an F, called as SQAAF. Thank you so much. It was a lovely response from everybody here. And I hope that you are quite aware about the SQAAF. CBSE is basically, talking about SQAAF, and CBSE is very serious about SQAAF. So in this session, we'll cover many things, and basically we'll be covering the first domain. But yes, in the first domain we'll be covering many things. And if you have got any question, please feel free to write in the chat box, because it should not be the one way communication where only I'll be speaking and you will be. So let's have this session wonderful, and let's have an interactive session. You can write your query there in the chat box, and I'll be able to answer the question which has been raised there in the chat box. Okay, so before starting with this session, I would like to give a little gist about this SQAAF. Basically, what exactly is SQAAF? What is sustainable development goals? So my first question to all of you, and if you know the answer, please put the answer there in the chat box. Who is the one who is responsible for sustainable development goals in India? I repeat my question. Who is the one who is responsible for sustainable development goal in India? Okay, I got one answer, teachers. Who else? We all. Okay. All right. See, no answer is wrong, because now in education all answers are correct. We need to find out which suits the best. Okay, all the stakeholders, teachers. All right, wonderful. Education policy, closer. Okay. Okay, all right. So I'll come with the, I'll come up with, oh, wonderful, Mr. Brajesh. I think he deserves a big round of applause. It's Niti Aayog in India who is responsible for carrying out these, sustainable development goals. And, today when we are connected with each other, so we are connected basically on the 4th. Can you see there in the picture? How many total number of sustainable development goals are there? Can you just number it? Can you please write in the chat box? I'm waiting for another few seconds. All right. Thank you so much. It is already written there. Thank you so much, Alkaji, Poonamji, Ria, Brajesh, Madhvi, Neha, Sapna, thank you so much. Wonderful. We have got a wonderful audience today. Now, so total number of 17 goals, which have been, decided. And out of these, 17 goals, today we are going to talk about the fourth one, that is quality education. Now, the question comes, why quality education? Because, it is very important to connect why we are having this session today. So, I'm asking another question: why quality education? Why we are talking about quality education? And since so many years, I mean, if we talk about the Indian culture, so Indian culture, education system is not new. It's almost like 5,000 to 7,000 years old. So do you really think that we are not talking about quality? We are not taking care of the quality. And if we are taking care of the quality, why now we are talking about the quality in education? So big question. So let me, okay, very good, very good. All answers are right. Skill education, Sapna ji, very nice. Okay, so I'll just tell you why basically we are talking about sustainable development goal and what this first domain is talking about. The first domain is basically curriculum, pedagogy, and assessments. Right. So I hope you are clear with that total number of 17 goals are there, out of which we are going to take the fourth one today. And we are talking about the quality education. When we talk about the quality education, we talk about ensuring inclusive. I hope you understand what is inclusive education. So, inclusive education, we talk about equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. This is what is the motive of fourth domain of sustainable development goals. All right. Yes, wonderful. So, let's move on to the next slide and we'll see what exactly this curriculum, pedagogy, and assessment basically talks about. So, can we move on to the, okay, all right. Before we start with the, SQAAF first domain, and I'll take you deep into, the domain one, and I'll talk about what curriculum we are talking about, what is pedagogy, and what is the assessment. So let's start with the point here. What is SQAAF and what is the purpose of SQAAF? See, new education policy, everybody is aware about that. The new education policy government has, taken initiative, and it was designed and it was implemented, and it was supposed to be implemented full-fledged in 2024, April onwards. Now also some schools are struggling to implement the new education policy in full. And the purpose of new education policy is to bring in the quality in the education. So why this SQAAF is there? Why we are talking about the SQAAF? SQAAF is something which actually checks whether we are actually on the track or not. And it gives basically the rubrics on which we can check whether we are really going forward and as per the recommendation of new education policy, and are we really in sync what the new education policy talks about and what new education policy brings to the children and all the stakeholders. So when we talk about SQAAF, the full form of the SQAAF is School Quality Assessment and Assurance Framework with a F. So SQAAF is basically SQA with a F, that is called as School Quality Assessment and Assurance. We need to be actually very clear that what kind of education we are giving. Is this really worth? Our children are really getting what kind of education is to be there? Are we really creating the children which can really fit in into any part of the world? So this is what is a bigger question, because now the education is not only confined to one specific region, one specific country. We are creating the global citizens, and that is what is the purpose. SQAAF is something which is very, very important. In the later slides, we will understand why basically the SQAAF is important, why the CBSE has implemented SQAAF, why new education policy is talking about quality in education. So what exactly we are talking about in quality in education? All right, let's move ahead and let's find out, is it really required? So two questions I'm putting it here. Is it really required, and what if we do not follow? So the answers are yes, it is really required, because education earlier, it was a non-measurable thing, but now it is measurable, because until we measure it, until we find out whether we are on right track or not, how do we find out whether we are really giving the quality education or not? So it talks about, SQAAF basically talks about self reflection. The child should be able to reflect that what the education the child has got, that really education has been imparted or not. If it is not imparted, then who's accountable for it? So somebody has to take the responsibility. And in one of my session, I have said that there was one child who went to the headmaster and said to the headmaster, I want the complete refund of my spent amount, which I have spent on education, because I really did not get anything. So is it something that the teachers are teaching and just going out of the class, or is it something where we held ourselves accountable for it? So SQAAF talks about accountability. Then we talk about collaboration. Education is something which is not, which cannot be achieved by a solo practice. We need to collaborate in different ways. And yes, in this education, innovation is something very, very important. And just to connect this innovation, let me talk and let me quote one sentence which is being told by Narayan Murthy, that yes, we have got lot many children, and these children are basically degree holders, but they do not have any practical knowledge. And when I recruit these children to my company, I make sure that these children get enough of experience by doing, and then I take them into the mainstream. Very big statement, very, very big statement. Are we only teaching our children to just learn, memorize, and write in the question paper? I'm sorry, this is not the education, because we are not creating the children for today. We are creating the children for tomorrow, and we want the innovators. We want people, those who can innovate, they can ideate, and they can come up with some new things. Because education is all about that. Whatever I know, I'm going to impart it to you, and hereafter it is your responsibility to take it ahead and to check whether my knowledge was correct or not. And for the future generation, you leave some marks where they follow you. So this is what is all about the SQAAF in nutshell. Okay, so there is a question mark, and can I have the answer of this question mark? Are you ready with the SQAAF documents for CBSE visit? Big question. So let me explain what, because CBSE has clearly said that whatever we are doing, that is to be recorded in SQAAF, and SQAAF is an online portal which is available in CBSE. You can write in Google SQAAF, and you will be able to find out the SQAAF portal. Now in the SQAAF portal, there are several domains, subdomains, standards are there. So are you aware about it? Did you started preparing your school with the evidences? Because CBSE has started selecting some schools. Initially it was 3% schools, now it is 5% schools, and maybe in coming days it may be up to 7% to 10%. That includes the new school or the schools which are trying to apply for upgradation or subject enhancement, whatever. So the question again comes, and please write there in the chat box. I'll be more than happy to see the answers. Are you SQAAF ready or not? With the evidences, not just filling the data there in the SQAAF portal. Are you ready with the evidences? Please write it right there in the chat box. In the meanwhile, can we move on to the next slide? All right, Sapna ji, very nice. Thank you so much for your answer. Okay, Sky tournaments. Okay, it's yes, wonderful. We are very happy. Okay, Rajni, very nice. All right. Thank you so much for your responses. These are, Monica, Archana, all yes, Premchand, yes, very nice. So I hope you understand what is the importance of evidence. Now, in this session, we will be talking about the evidences also, how we can create the evidences, for individual standards and individual domains also, domains, subdomains, and standards. Okay, so before we proceed, we need to understand what exactly are the 7 domains of SQAAF. So 7 domains of SQAAF are curriculum, pedagogy and assessment, infrastructure, human resource. So if I talk about curriculum, pedagogy and assessment, it covers how much weightage. What is more important there in the school? Is it management? Is it infrastructure? Is it inclusive education? Or is it curriculum, pedagogy, and assessment? It's everything included there in the school. It's not one thing that contributes to the overall teaching learning process. But yes, in the school, if we talk about everything. So in everything, the major part is curriculum, pedagogy, and assessment, because that defines the standard of the school. So it covers almost 40%, not almost, it covers exactly 40% of the weightage. Then we have got infrastructure, which is 10%, because infrastructure is also important. Human resource, 10%. Inclusive practices, 10%. Management and governance, 10%. Leadership, 10%. Beneficiary satisfaction, 10%. So what comes at the center of this, 7 domains? Yes, it is the first domain, that is curriculum, pedagogy, and assessment. This basically decides the school standard. All right, so I hope you can see the pie chart also, and you can see total 7 domains are there, and that covers 100% of the total SQAAF. And if we talk about the domains, 7 domains are there. How many subdomains are there? Can you please write there in the chat box? And how many standards are there? When we talk about the standards, so it's clearly benchmarking statements, whether yes, no, and how. So these are the benchmarking statements. So how many are there? Can you please write there in the chat box? I just want to keep this session more interactive. So how many subdomains? 49 subdomains. Thank you so much, Miss Ria. And how many standards are there? All right, 49, 49, 49. These are subdomains. And how many standards are there? Okay, wonderful, wonderful. We have got a wonderful audience today. Thank you so much for participating and being so active there in the group. Thank you so much. It's Manisha ji, Seema, Richa, Deepika. Thank you so much. Neetu, Neelam, Litesh. Thank you so much. It was really good. And I hope it's clear that, we have got total of 7 domains, of which subdomains are 49, and total of benchmarks, we have got is 84. All right. So let's move on to the next slide. Can we? Yes. Okay. So in domain 1, we are going to talk today about curriculum, pedagogy, and assessment. And I would like to tell you what exactly is this domain 1. So this domain 1 ensures what is the purpose of this domain in SQAAF. It is very, very important because it is the soul of the whole school. If you have got everything in place, but don't have the curriculum, pedagogy, and assessment in place, I think the soul leaves the body. So it is very, very important. This domain basically ensures that the school implements a well-structured, competency-based curriculum aligned with national standards. National standards, I have already, made it clear that new education policy and, NCF documents clearly talks about what should be the standards. It focuses on learner-centric pedagogical approaches. So, it is basically talking about how the children learn. And when I'm talking about children, I'm talking about the inclusive practices also. That promises the critical thinking, very, very important part. Critical thinking, creative thinking, and real world application of the knowledge. So I already shared a story where the child came back to the headmaster and said, I want my money back because I did not learn anything. So, big question that, is there any real world, application of whatever knowledge we are having? And if you align with me, can you just write there in the chat box, how many of you have really learned the Pythagoras theorem? I'm not actually, going against any subject. I love all subjects because I teach all the subjects. But did you all learn the Pythagoras theorem? Just write there in the chat box, yes or no. Okay. Okay, all right. Thank you so much. And can you tell me the practical implementation of Pythagoras theorem, where you exactly used this Pythagoras theorem in your life? Or a square plus b square equals to 2ab. Where did you apply? Did the teacher teach you? That's the problem. Yes. Thank you so much, Himani ji. It's okay. Thank you so much, Dhiman ji. Right? It's really, really very important that whatever we are teaching to our children, that should be practically implementable there in the real world. And that is why we are learning. So a child, nowadays, children are very smart. They immediately stand up there in the class and they ask, Madam, you are teaching this thing. Can I use it in anywhere in my practical life? So the teacher has to answer, and that is what basically the SQAAF domain 1 talks about: the child centric approach and real world application of the knowledge. The domain also emphasizes a balanced and inclusive assessment system that moves beyond rote memorization to evaluate concept, understanding, skills, and competencies. I think this is something very, very important, and I would like to mention here the 3C philosophy that is actually, ideology of IB board, CBSE board, and the Cambridge board, that are 3C, concept. So 3C basically stands for content, and competence. These are the 3 C's which are very, very important. Whenever you are trying to design the curriculum, pedagogy, and assessments, please keep all these three in mind: content, competence, and content. All right. Okay. So schools are encouraged to adopt innovative methods, teaching methods, technology integration. CBSE talks about, new education, policy talks about technology integration and experiential learning. Very, very important. Experiential learning. I hope you are clear about experiential learning and learn by experience. Both are different things. Both are not same things. So children should be, learn. There should be a, yes, learning by doing. Absolutely. So experiential learning to enhance student engagement and holistic development. So when we talk about the holistic development without these, all important points, it's practically not possible. So I hope I'm clear with the importance of this domain 1. Okay, so this domain 1 basically talks about curriculum, pedagogy, and assessment. So when we talk about curriculum, what students will learn, that is very important, because it should not be such that whatever content we are giving, children are simply following, writing in the book, and then after it is not practically implementable anywhere in the practical real life situation. Second thing is pedagogy, how students will learn. So what are the methods? What are the different ways? And that includes the inclusive education also. So what are the different ways? And the third one is that, is our assessment system suitable enough to measure their complete capability or not? If it is not, then we need to refine it. We need to again redraft it. And if it is doing, then I think we are doing a good job, and children are really being tested on their skills rather than just being tested on their rote learning methods. So in the next slides, we will be going to cover all these points also. So I hope these 3 points are very clear. Okay, now when we talk about the subdomains, so curriculum, pedagogy, and assessment has got further subdomains. So these subdomains are curriculum planning, teacher learning process, student enrichment, skill-based, vocational word we are not using. CBSE is actually refraining using vocational word. So basically we are using the word skill-based education, and the embedded and the programs embedded in the ACCP. What is this ACCP? Can you write there in the chat box? What is the full form of ACPP? Can you please write there in the chat box? All right, fine. And then moving to 1.4 domain, that is mainstreaming physical education and sports, because sports integration is made compulsory. It is practically not possible for a child to completely sit there in the class for the whole day and without doing the activity. So it becomes a very, very important part of our pedagogy. Yes, annual curriculum and pedagogical plan. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Brajeshji. Thank you so much. Yes. Seema ji, very nice. Right. Thank you so much. Okay. And then, values and ethos. And I'll tell you one thing, I'm sure that you will be interested in knowing one secret, behind this new education policy. New education policy talks about everything, but it majorly talks about imbibing values and ethos. If you see any of the circular since last 1 year, you'll really find that it is basically only and only talking about values and ethos. Because if we talk about the education now, Almost all children, they are highly involved in the education, and they are now achieving. At our times, we were achieving, I achieved 78% marks. Right now, nowadays, children are getting 99, even 100% marks also. And, is it really possible? So, if it is really possible, that means that their learning, capabilities are much, much better than us. But one thing is there which is lagging, and all parents, I take care of almost 13 schools across India, and I'll tell you that, parents, they reach us and they say, sir, everything is okay, study wise, report wise, everything is okay, but my child is lacking in values and ethos, sir. We are trying to imbibe it, and the children, they are not listening to us. It's very, very important. It's a very important component of new education policy as well as SQAAF. Then we'll move on to 1.6, student performance assessment and LO. What is LO? Learning objectives and feedback and learning enhancement programs. All right. And the last one, and a very, very important one, is early childhood care and education. It's very important, and you might be aware that the CBSE has come up with a plan of 5+3+3+4 system. So do you know what is this 5+3+3+4 system? Why 5? What was the problem? Rather than having 5, we could have gone for 3+2+3+3+4. Why this 5? And the answer is that let the children learn the natural way, as they are being sent on this earth by the nature. So let them learn the same way the nature wants to teach. And that is why this 5 is called as, yes, foundation is very, very, very important. And that's why the CBSE says that it's a foundation. It's a foundation of the children, because, generally we say, that when the child moves to grade 8 and 9, so we say, the foundation is very weak. So now the CBSE don't want to leave any stone unturned where the child leaves or there is a lag in development of the foundation. So can we move to the next slide, please? Okay. Pedagogy and assessment in domain 1. So let's talk about the, yes, Rohini ji, foundation is very, very important on. Okay, so 1.1, when we talk about pedagogy and assessment in domain 1, it talks about the curriculum planning. Now, is it something very, very important? Why do we need to plan the curriculum? Is it something important? And I'll tell you, and before this, I already said that 3C is something which is very, very important. It's character, content, and competence. 3 things very, very important. Character is to be built along with the education. Content should be there. That means the age appropriate content should be there, and character, content, and competence. And in my earlier slide, I talked about the accountability, because we need to make the children more competent. They should be having the hands-on experience. Okay, so 1.1.1, it talks about the principal and teachers are well versed in NCF spirit and NEP recommendations. So it's all about knowing whether you know the new education policy and national curriculum framework for foundation stages and secondary stages. So it's very, very important, and it talks about the curriculum planning basically talks about 1.1.1, that is knowing. Yes, absolutely, 3 to 8 years, absolutely, Poonamji. So it's very important that principals and the teachers, they should have the clear training of new education policy and NCF guidelines, and there should be a gist created, and please keep the gist along with you so that you will be clear what exactly is basically new education policy recommendations and what is the national curriculum framework guidelines. And there is one more addition, that is national credit framework also. NC small r and then capital F, NCRF. So that is again very important. So please make sure that this is something very important, and SQAAF wants to know and wants to remind you that you need to be abreast with the NCF and NEP guidelines. Then we talk about school leadership and teachers are familiar with the CBSE curriculum, documents, and support material. Can you just tell me which is the place where you can find the CBSE documents and support material in CBSE? Anybody who can write in the chat box? Anybody who can write there in the chat box? Where is the place where we can find all this information? Yes, absolutely. It's CBSE Academics. It's CBSE Academic site. It has got everything. You need to explore it. Okay, honestly, can I ask you a question? And I want an honest answer, a very honest, very, very honest answer I want. So, how many times a month you open this CBSE Academic website? I want a very honest answer. Okay, I'm waiting for it. One time, two time, I regular. Okay, very nice, Mr. Rajput. Okay, Neha, hardly once, five times, regular basis, very less. Okay, so the crux is basically that please make sure that every day, once at least, in a day, you need to check the CBSE website. Or I would rather suggest twice a day you can go for Shipraji. I think is accessing the website twice a day. One at the start of the day and one at the end of the day. You'll find out what new circulars are there from the CBSE, and CBSE is very adamant and very clear in implementing sustainable development goals and SQAAF and the other new education policy criterias. All right. 1.1.3 talks about the ACCP plan. So ACPP plan, I already asked you about what is ACPP, and you already answered that it's annual curriculum and pedagogical plan. Annual curriculum and pedagogical plan. So how many types of planning you basically make? Is it a yearly one? Is it a half yearly one? Is it a monthly one? Is it a weekly one? Or is it a day one? How many types of plan you make in your school? Please write there in the chat box. Okay, monthly, day wise, wonderful. Yearly, we make 15 days, wonderful. And I would say that all answers are correct. It doesn't matter whether you make it, yes, absolutely. Saida, she's writing yearly, term wise, and weekly. Wonderful. Yearly, monthly, daily, that also is good. All answers are correct. And I would say that basically we make the year plan, and then after in the year plan is basically a broad plan. Then after we go with the monthly plan, and after monthly plan we go either day wise, week wise, or a fortnight wise. Wonderful. Thank you so much. I think we have got a wonderful audience here. Very much, yes, annual bifurcation is very, very important. And then there should be a plan which will be including the teaching days, non-teaching days, and total number of working days. All right. Point number 1.4, it talks about the curriculum development skills for lifelong learning and global citizenship, supporting SDGs. So I think this we already talked, that we are not creating the local citizens, we are creating the global citizens. And this is very, very important that our children should be having, and they should be abreast with the latest trends and technologies, so that they should not be finding themselves different from others whenever they are going any other places in the world. Okay, let's talk about the teaching learning process. What is this teaching learning process? We need to understand this thing a little more. So point number 1.2.1, it talks about the school adheres to teaching days and hours set by the authority. That means that, see, whenever we are reaching the class, we should not be going unplanned. There should be some planning. So I hope many of your schools, and if you want to endorse, you can put your comments there in the chat box, that everybody follows everyday plan, that what I need to teach, and if there is a backlog, so those backlogs are to be covered within the same week. Are you agreeing with me or not? If you agree, yes. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your wonderful answers and participation. All right. Now coming to the second one, the teacher-student ratio complies with the prescribed norms. So can you write there in the chat box, what is the teacher-student ratio in your classrooms? What is teacher-student ratio there in your classrooms? And what is suggest? Okay. 35 is to 1, wonderful. 30 is to 1, 1 is to 20, wonderful. Pawan Kumar ji, wonderful. 36, okay, 1 is to 21. And I'll tell you, right, for individual care, most of the schools have moved from 1 is to 18 to 1 to the maximum of 1 is to 25. Not more than that, because then after we'll be having lot many children there in the class, and it's practically not possible to get the quality in education. Yes, absolutely, Antrika ji, right? Masti ki Pathshala, I think somebody is having this name on Google Meet. Okay, Litesh, nice. So yes, 1 is to 25 is a perfect number. 1 is to 40, goes a little, more. But yes, CBSE, suggest basically 1 is to 25, 1 is to 30 was the better one. So, okay, all right. Now coming to the point number 1.2.4, NCRT learning outcomes are used as success criteria for all classes. Now, one thing is there, no, I mean, okay. Yes, absolutely. For kindergarten, it has to be less. Absolutely, you are absolutely right. Because kindergarten, when we talk about, so we are not talking about kindergarten. We are basically talking about Balvatikas as per the CBSE word. So, when we talk about the Balvatikas, or when we talk about the foundation, classes. So for foundation classes, the teacher-student ratio should be different. For your middle school, the teacher-student ratio should be different. From grade 6 to grade 8, the teacher-student ratio has to be different, and from 9 to 12, the teacher-student ratio differs. But I'm just talking about the journal student-teacher ratio. All right. So when we talk about LOs, one teacher came and not teacher, one principal came. Yes, absolutely. Yes, Preeta ji. Yes, I fully agree with you. Right. So one principal came and said, "Sir, is it really important to have the LOs? Because we are going there in the class, we are explaining everything to the children, and we are taking the formatives also, we are taking the summatives also. So what is the role of this LO?" And I suggest, and I honestly suggest, LO at the start of the session and LO at the end of the session. Now, why start of the session and why end of the session? Because learning objectives has to be clearly defined. Why we are learning this topic? What is the purpose of learning this topic? And at the end of the session, I again suggest the LO. So that LO is, what did we learn? So what is the learning outcomes? So initially I, say learning objectives, and then later part is the learning outcomes. So we need to make sure that children should be aware about the LO, that yes, this is absolutely, yes, absolutely. Only one learning objective are laid down well can yes, absolutely. Yes, because it should be properly defined, and students, yes, they should be knowing, and there from there only the trust has been made. So this trust is something very, very important, because now, so, children are not the one who are at the receiving end. Now, I think you all agree that teachers are now no more teachers, they are facilitators. They are facilitating students in education, they are not teaching. So I hope this system is already existing since 2 decades in Cambridge and IB, and now this has come in the CBSE also. There are no more teachers now, we are now facilitators. So I hope this part is clear, and we'll move on to the next slide. Okay, so then we'll move on to 1.3, and it talks about student enrichment and skill programs embedded in ACPP. So, do you really think that the education is only about going in the class, opening the book, reading between the lines, explaining, and then taking the examination? No, right? So that is what is the reason they had bifurcated it, so that it can be easily understood by each and every teacher, and the principal can explain it to all the stakeholders, including the parents, what and how. So ample opportunities are to be provided for art education. Are you aware that the CBSE has already taken the initiative and has given a big space for art education and sports education? So it is, the trainings are also happening on the name of art integration, session on art integration. So I think CBSE is emphasizing more on art integration. Now, why art integration? So I'll let me tell you one story. Are you interested in story? Can you just put in a yes there? All right, thank you so much. Thank you so much. All right. So one parent, came to me long back, and the parent said, "Sir, you just teach mathematics, science and social science and English, sir. Arts and sports. No, we will take care at home." Is it the real? Is it the real statement? Is it a good statement or bad statement? Yes, storytelling is also there. I'm coming to that point. Yes, absolutely. Is it a good statement or bad statement that the parent told me that, sir, you teach only subjects, rest of the things I will take care? Is it right or wrong? Yes, absolutely. Because education is not all about only academics. It is all about overall development, and that is practically not possible. That is practically not possible without integrating arts, co-curricular activities, extracurricular activities, and sports integration. That is practically not possible. Okay. Why CBSE is talking about the vocational education, building entrepreneurial skills? And I just wanted to add, yes, absolutely. Moral and character, Anjana ji, very, very rightly said. Yes, 360-degree. From Yavatmal, 360-degree. 360-degree development is something very, very important. Okay, I just wanted to add in here that I have written the books of entrepreneurship for grade 11 and 12, which is an integral part of the CBSE curriculum. It's been printed by CBSE, and I have written the volume first of entrepreneurship. This was the first program in India which was focusing only on skill development subjects, because we don't want the job seekers, we want the job givers, and that is what is the purpose of our education system. Right. All right. So yes, all around development. Absolutely. Absolutely. I fully agree. Okay. So, basically vocational education programs are being encouraged more. Entrepreneurial skills are to be developed with an internship program. Okay. I'll ask you one honest question, and I want the honest answer. How many of your schools are having the internship program as a regular program for the kids? Okay, Anjana ji, very nice, very honest answer, very honest answer. Please note it down and discuss with your school team, school leaders, principals, management, whosoever, and discuss that this program is something very, very important, and children, they get hands-on experience. CBSE has started this initiative a long back in the on the name of bookkeeping. I am sure that the teachers, those who are teaching since more than 1 decade or 2 decades, they must be knowing this subject. Yes, 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 Anjana ji, it's very much needed, because we do not know under what circumstances, under what situation the child. Yes. Thank you so much, Gaurav ji. So it is very, very important, for a kid to learn these skills, because until the child goes with the internship or, apprenticeship, they will not be having the hands-on experience. You do not know when the child has to leave the education, although we don't want, honestly, we do not want that. We want only one thing, that 100% of the children should complete their education, but somehow under certain circumstances, right, if they leave the education, it's very, very important. Yes, management generally overlooks it. Yes, I fully agree, Anjana ji. So what I basically say that they will create such an individual that even if they leave their studies in between, they can earn their livelihood from those learned skills. So it is very, very important. One more thing is, very important, is the financial literacy. I'm coming to the point number 3, that is 1.3.3. So activities, enhances literacy, critical thinking, communication, leadership, and various literacies like digital, financial, and health. And I would say, please write there in the chat box whether you have got financial literacy as a part of your education system or not. Once in 15 days, it is compulsory to have the financial literacy. It has got, NEP, new education policy has given. Yes, very nice, very nice. I'm so happy. Angels Valley, librarian Angels Valley. Yes, yes, absolutely wonderful. You all are aware. All right. So moving on to 1.4 domain, and it's about mainstreaming physical education and sports. And we already discussed about it that yes, CBSE wants it a compulsory part of your educational planning, what you do for an annual, monthly, fortnight, weekly, or day wise. It is compulsory to include physical education. Acha, just one more thing, I just wanted to throw a question there in the group to all of you. Is it good to sacrifice on sports period and teach English? Thank you so much for the wonderful answer and a quick answer. Dheeraj thank you so much. Rini ji, thank you so much. Shipra, Pavan, Meghna, Neelam, thank you so much. It was very, very honest answer. Because see, education, see, physical education is not an extra time we are giving to the children. It's a part of learning. Lots of learning happens in the in physical education. Team spirit, leadership, decision taking, lots and lots of skills have been developed, which cannot be developed in a classroom where the subject is being taught. Anyways, coming to values and ethos, and we have already discussed in length. Yes, Anjana ji, absolutely, I fully agree with you. Yes. So, I never follow. Okay. Yes. Preeta ji, you are so wonderful. You are so wonderful. Thank you so much for your answer. Yes, you should not sacrifice. Earlier, okay. Okay, okay. So you need to check on, because CBSE has already given a complete guideline for 45 periods. Complete guideline is given. So please check on that and make sure that the children should have a proper art integration and sports integration in their pedagogical plans. Coming to values and ethos, and I told you that now it's really very difficult with the kids, that they are not imbibed with the values and ethos. Earlier at our times, we used to have so many books, like Nandan, Champak, Chandamama. Newspapers also used to have, one column for the children. Other than that, we used to have, moral as a moral, as a subject, values as a subject, right? But now these subjects are not there, and this is a huge responsibility that comes on all of us as educator to teach them. Yes, moral education is there, but most of the schools, I mean, most of the international schools, they have done away with the moral education system now. They do not have any moral education, subject in their curriculum. Anyways, but this is to be taught there in the class, along with the subject. Very nice. Angels Valley, very nice. You have got, so I'm sure that your children are very nice. Okay, Gauri ji, you also teach. All right, very nice. Right. So, the school promotes care, compassion, respect, diversity, and stakeholders' pride. You see, I'll give you one example. So, nowadays, I mean, it's a very difficult, I would say, it's a very difficult era, because people are dying on the road, and the other people, they are just spectators. They are taking the videos, right, and they are putting it online, and they are interested, more in getting the likes rather than helping this person. So is this the kind of education system we are making for? And if I tell you in nutshell, humans are basically a social animal, and they cannot live without each other's support. And this support can only come when we have got a care, when we promote care, when there is a compassion, when there is a mutual respect for each other. So this is not possible, and new education policy specially focuses on this. And when I talk about new education policy, it's no different from SQAAF. SQAAF is the part of new education policy. All right. And it also talks about Indian heritage. I mean, we should be proud of our Indian heritage, and that is why heritage quiz is there, which comes once in a year, but it's very prominent quiz. And I hope that all the schools are taking it. If you are not taking it, start taking the heritage quiz from CBSE. and fulfill duties of society, living beings, and nature. So I think this is something very important. Can we move on to the next slide? Okay, we'll take this 1.6 also, that is student performance assessment and learning enhancement. The school should ensure 75% attendance, that is compulsory, right? This will help the school to reduce dropouts, and this is a part of SQAAF, and we need to follow it strictly. We need to, whenever our orientation program is there in the school. I hope the orientation, I hope most of the schools are April opening or June opening. So in the month of April or in the month of March, if you are having the orientation program, kindly make sure to address the parent and tell them these all 5 points, very very important points they should be aware of. What all 5 points are there? 75% attendance is compulsory, right? Then the second one is there, that teachers use diverse method to assess student performance. Diverse methods, which all are the tools and techniques which are available with the teachers to check students knowledge. It's essay, it's extempore, it's quiz, it's performance, right? Okay, all right, but CBSE says 75%, Saidaji, right? So it's 75%, it's compulsory. It is there in the CBSE records also. But we will not be debating on 70% or 75%, but 75% is the standard. Yes, with some exceptions or medicals included, we can have 70% also, and that can go down below to 60% also, depending on the kind of disease or the the problem or the treatment the child is undergoing with. All right. Then the third one is performance is regularly assessed using defined procedures and various tools. So I already talked about the tools, right? Sometimes we go there in the class and we take dictations. Sometimes we go and we ask for the role play. Sometimes we go and we ask the children to prepare the PPT and show the PPT there in the class as per the availability of the technology in your class. So this is very important. So please make sure to include the parents also into your pedagogical plan, so they should be aware what kind of strategy you are using. Yes, MCQs are there, quizzes are there, online quizzes are there, right? Lot many things are there. All right. Then we have got the holistic progress report card, which is being coined by the CBSE. In the later slide, we'll be talking more about the holistic progress report card. So holistic progress report card, if I talk in nutshell, I would only say that it takes care of each and every domain wherever the child can be accessed. Yes, 360-degree, absolutely. Then we have got NAS, SLAS, and CBSE shuffle assessment that the students can take. So please make sure to make the parents aware about all these things, right, during the orientation program. Don't worry, we will be talking about 1.6.5. All right. Moving on to 1.7. All right. So 1.7 talks about the early child care education. So I already discussed that CBSE is very much serious about the early childhood care education, because and that is what is the reason. I mean, they have are you aware of one fact? I just wanted to share one fact with you, that earlier nursery, KG1 and KG2, they were not the part of formal education. They were the part of informal education, and that used to come in women and child welfare. And with the introduction of new education policy, it has become the formal part of education, because these are the days where the children learn a lot, and these are the foundations of any child and the whole career of the child. Yes, absolutely, Cheshta ji. This is the fact that earlier it used to come in the Ministry of Women and Child Welfare. Now it is the part. Now it is an integral part of our education system, new education policy, and that's why they are putting it 5. So 5 means 3 nursery, KG1, KG2, grade 1, and grade 2. That is 5. Then we'll be coming to pedagogy is inclusive, play-based, engaging, and experiential. So this is something which is very important, because until they learn something from whatever we are teaching there in the class, there is no point of teaching. Teaching has to be wonderful. It should be taught in playway method. And there are several strategies they talk about. There are several trainings which are available, and I'm sure that this is one eye-opening session for all of us, where we should find out which all are the areas where we require improvement, because it also talks about teacher trainings also. So whichever areas we want to take the training, we need to find out which trainings are available in your nearby locality. You can go to CBSE IT, you can register yourself and get the training done. All right, and the last one is the ecosystem is to be there in the place to meet FLN target of all children. So I think this is something very important, and CBSE also focuses. We have discussed all these points in length. Okay, we'll move on to the next slide. It's almost going to be 5, and I'll be needing some more time, because we are getting wonderful response from everybody, and we have got a wonderful audience here there today. So are you there with me for another 10-15 minutes? Can you write that in the chat box? Right. Thank you so much, Rini ji. Thank you so much, Poonam ji, Cheshta ji, Bansal ji. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your response. Okay, we need to understand what is pedagogy. So pedagogy is something, it's a practice of teaching that uses various strategies to engage children, support their unique needs, and develop critical thinking and other skills in an inclusive, student-focused environment. Very difficult to understand, no? You in simple words. Pedagogy is basically where, whatever we are teaching, our teaching strategy should be such that all kind of learners in the class can be, you understand VAC, VAK, VAC. You can explore on the net later on, right? VAC, learners. Okay, so you can explore on the net, in the Google, and it will explain, a lot, because, we have got short of time. So let's, find out. VAC, it addresses all VAC, users, or it addresses all VAC children there in the class. So our lesson planning has to be such, which includes the inclusive education children also. And or, yes, absolutely, Roliji, thank you so much. You are wonderful. You are wonderful, Gangaji. You are wonderful. Thank you so much. Everybody can, see there in the chat box the complete full form of VAC. All right. So the main focus is that, whatever we are teaching, it has to be designed in such a way that all children should learn there in the class, rather than having only 5% or 10% of learning there in the class. Okay. So what do we do there in the class? The bigger question. So what if the class was driven by curiosity, creativity, critical thinking, instead of just textbooks and exams? Do you want this kind of wonderful classrooms? Yes, that's what, basically in our schools we are following. You need to check with your school, but let me just give an example, where, in our school, we basically, talk and teach through Kath Murdoch Enquiry Cycle module. I'll come again back. Kath Murdoch Enquiry Cycle module. So there are total 6 number of inquiry cycles, and this is what basically which encourages the children, they are curious there in the class, they're creative there in the class. See, I'll tell you, Aparna ji, the answer to this question is wonderful, and I would be, very happy to address it at the end of the session, right? But I'll tell you, you explore, all of you can explore Kath Murdoch model of enquiry cycle, right? It's a 6 stages enquiry cycle, and you'll be really, you'll really feel wonderful to go through with this inquiry cycle, and it addresses the weaker children also. Not weaker children, the children which are, I shouldn't be using these words straight away, but yes, I would definitely say here, yes, thank you so much, Cheshta ji. Very nice. So, I'll tell you that the moment, these, inquiry cycles are being used, even the children which are slower learners, or those who are having the ADHD problem, OCD problem, they also start learning. So this is one very good inquiry cycle module. In case if you can implement this thing in your class, I think it will be next level. Anyways, coming to the, to the question. So how would you shape the future of the children? So the questions are, student would develop problem solving skills and become lifelong learners. And the purpose is not to teach only for 15 years. Our purpose is not to teach only for 15 years. Our purpose is to make them the lifelong learner, because learning cannot stop throughout your life. Second thing is, learning would be more engaging, making students more curious and innovative, because we want the innovative children. We don't want just the followers, the blind followers. Assessment would focus on real world application rather than rote memorization, and that is what is the reason CBSE is coming up with lot many methods. And they're coming up with the practicals, file making. Those numbers are included in 100 marks also. And other than that, the CBSE is also focusing on MCQ based, short questions, long answer questions, right? Very long answer questions, all those things. So assessment cannot be just based on one thing. It has to be diverse. And there in the class, you've been given with the liberty of having. Yes, absolutely, Cheshtaji. Yes, I agree. So CBSE is also focusing on taking the formative through quizzes, through assessments, through IT projects, through PowerPoint presentations. So these are something which are important. So this is something very important, to have curiosity, creativity, critical thinking, in the classroom. Yes, absolutely, multi-dimensional and multi-disciplinary approach, Anjana ji. Very nice. Thank you so much. Can we move on to the next slide? Okay. So let's discuss some important aspects in pedagogy. So what are pedagogical plans, lesson plannings, and learning outcomes? So these three things we are going to cover. Can we move on to the next slide, please? All right. So, pedagogical plan. This is just a gist of pedagogical plan, how the pedagogical plan is to be made. If you want, I'll explain, each and every point. So you need to be first writing in the pedagogical plan. Pedagogical plan, if I can explain it better, I would say, yes. So I would say, pedagogical plan is a gross plan that is made for the complete year. So this pedagogical plan has to include the mission and vision, because it is very important. It has to match with the institution. Yes, roadmap, absolutely. So it has to match with the institution's, mission and vision. Then, can you see the right side of this image? So right side, it is having head and members. So that is concerned coordinator and teachers for each stage. So this is the second heading here. And if we come down, so it is teaching learning approaches. Which all are the approaches that we are going to use here? And right side, if you see, for all stages, 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4 stages. This we have already discussed. So 5 is like, grade nursery to grade 2 is 5. Then, third, fourth, fifth is 3. 6, 7, and 8 is 3. And then 9, 10, 11, and 12 as a complete, 4-year program, that is plus 4. So it is 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4. You need to be, in your pedagogical plan, you need to be writing the goals. What are the goals you are looking for? And what is the objective of this goal? What are the strategies that you are going to be opting for, completing, these goals? And below you have got a plan, that is curriculum and pedagogical plan. So can you see the 4 stages here? It is written, and it is written the subject also, literacy, language, and the complete plan is being listed here. Okay, Anjana ji, this question also I will take it at the end. Please save this question for the end, and I'll be very happy to address this question. All right. So, curriculum strategies, we'll be taking only one preparatory, topic here. So preparatory, in the preparatory classes, if we take the language, we need to focus on building the vocabulary, and this can be done through word games, puzzles, etc. Then we need to find out, when we talk about the puzzle games, when we talk about the word games, this talks about the curriculum strategies. What are the pedagogical approaches? So pedagogical approaches are interactive sessions, vocabulary based games, and etc. So these could be the pedagogical approaches. What should be the assessment type. So the assessment type is performance, in word building exercises. So these are the exercises that we can do. And what are the learning outcomes? So the child will be having a good vocabulary along with the usage of these vocabularies in the sentences. So this is how this is how uh, okay, this question also I will address in the later part of my presentation. Right. So I hope this is clear. And below you need to be writing the descriptors also. And these descriptors are engaging in teachers' professional development. This we have already discussed in our earlier slide. All right, all right. Then, inviting, innovations to the school. CBSE has also started with the School Innovation Ambassador Program. And, the school has to start with TOT is something different. TOT, I'm not talking about only TOT, but I'm talking about, the other trainings. So, I'm talking about here the school innovation programs. So, school innovation programs are all there. Please make sure after this session, go to the Google and write there school innovation program in CBSE, and you can register your school as a for the school innovation program. Ministry of Government supports a lot, and it gives the support of almost like 1.5 lakh rupees to 3 lakh rupees to the students which are innovators. For you need to send the plan to the government. Government has to approve, and accordingly, the government will be giving the grant. All right. Then the fourth one is developing and learning culture. So this culture has to be there in the school, because we need to develop continuously and we need to be learning continuously, right? We'll be learning continuously, and this culture has to be there, right? Teaching learning has to continue through this culture. And what are the focus areas? So when we are planning this thing, the pedagogical plan, we need to be very clear where the school. Okay, nice question. I think Luneblaze team will be able to address this question very well, where you will get the consolidated format for this kind of planning. So I hope they'll be interacting with you soon. All right. So coming to the step number one, where the school is right now, what do we need to do in the coming years? Step number three, how we are going to achieve it. Number four, who all are responsible people. Then coming to point number five, what is the timeline for implementation? And the last and a very important one, what will be the impact of planning, whatever we have planned. And accordingly, this cycle will continue. All right. So let's move on to the next slide. I hope this slide is clear. This is the consolidated plan. Can we move on to the next slide? Okay, so this is the lesson plan. We all are making the lesson plan. We don't have to be discussing this thing in length, but yes, right, learning objectives has to be clear. Level of Bloom's taxonomy, is to be well defined there. I hope you are knowing about the Bloom's taxonomy. Some other time we can have some discussion over Bloom's taxonomy. So if you are not aware, please make sure to take out the Bloom's taxonomy printout and put it on your table, so that when you are planning the lesson, you can put the level of Bloom's taxonomy of your class. Then what all are the specific resources required? So these are the tools and techniques, right? So it may be IT lab, it may be reference book, it could be manipulatives, it could be videos, lab resources, visitors, right? Expert sessions, anything. Then introduction. So introduction, there should be a ice-breaking session in every class. There should be an ice-breaking session. Please make it sure to have an ice-breaking session in your class. That will make your class more interesting. So ice-breaking can be done in any ways. Show them some wonderful, video, very short video, or, instigate their thoughts on the topic by giving latest or some wonderful examples, right? So these are the ways you can do the ice-breaking session. Okay, I'll address this. Yes, I will definitely address this, Cheshta ji. So assessments, we need to be very clear which all the kind of assessments we are going to take. So assessments, majorly we have got two kinds, formative and summative. So we need to accordingly plan in our lesson plans. How do we check? And I'm sure that you are aware that assessments, if I talk about, so formative assessments are informal assessments, and these are basically called as remedial examinations where we can judge the knowledge of the children. Okay, coming to homework and extension work. So this is something which every school has to plan. We cannot give all homeworks all day, so there should be a plan for the homework, and this should be very systematic. Like mathematics can be every day, or maybe like every alternate day, right? English, languages. So that depends on the structure of your school and the demands of the parents. Learning outcomes should be clearly defined. All learners must be able to do what? Under three categories, learning objectives can be defined. One is all learners must be able to do what? Then most learners should be able to do what? And some learners may be able to do what? This will cater the need of each and everybody there in the class. Self analysis is something very important, that when we are going to the class, we need to check whether we are well prepared or not. If we are not well prepared with the chapter, very difficult. It's very, very difficult to make the children convince. And mostly, like, one thought always comes, no, that we have been teaching since so many years. Now the pedagogical practices have changed, the scenarios are changed, children have changed, education standards have changed, environment changed, everything changed. We also need to change. Yes. Yes, definitely we'll be able to share the lesson plan for Balvatika also. And the day wise planner you need to be planning, and then the remedial sessions that we have already discussed about, that every pedagogical plan has to have the remedial sessions, and not only remedial sessions, also it should include the backlogs, how to cover the backlogs. All right, we'll move on to the next slide. All right. So learning outcomes, we have already discussed all these points in length. So what are the characteristics of I already said, Nituji, that following these steps and following the cat Murdoch model, also we can always cater the needs of each and every child there in the class. And this is a long debatable question: how, when, what not, right? So we will discuss these points in maybe later part of the session, or maybe some other session. We can plan for this session also. All right, what are the characteristics of learning objectives? So it should be specific, well defined, realistic. It should connect with the real life, right? And it should be it should rely on active verbs in the future tenses. Yes, absolutely, right. It should be simple, and it should not only focus on process, but it should focus only on learning processes, right? How do we learn? And basically, if I talk about, it should be experiential learning. Yes, practical and innovative. Absolutely right, Anjana ji. Can we move on to the next slide? All right. So here is a question, right? Uh, what should be the assessment method to check and evaluate the children knowledge, skills, processes, methods, right? What should be the better way? So the question comes here. Basically, when we talk about the assessment, no, so assessment is not only confined to the knowledge that we are going to check with the children, but we also check whether our children are going to apply this knowledge in the practical life or not, and they'll be able to meet their goals there in the life or not. That is what the assessment should be focused more on. It should not be focused on that what I have taught and whether you have learned or not. All right. So there is a question: which of the following assessment approaches most effectively balances students' development and accountability in schools? Quizzes, projects, portfolios, observations. What could be the correct answer? All of these. Is it only one? It's all of these, not only one. All right. Thank you so much, Shilpa ji. Thank you so much. Sarmishta ji. Right. Thank you. Can you move? All right. So here we'll be talking, let's discuss some important aspects in assessments. So first could be the mode of assessment. What should be the mode of assessment? Assessment tools, what we are using. Yes, absolutely, Mandeep ji. Holistic progress report card, NAS, SLAS, and SAFL assessments. So these are the important aspects of assessments. All right. Let's move on to Let's move on to the next slide, please. Okay, so these are the different modes of assessments. And this is a very important slide. I want everyone to see this slide, and I'll be asking a couple of questions out of this slide. All right, so let's start with, so assessment should be based on three things. What is the purpose of this assessment? What method we are using? And what should be the format of this assessment, right? So what is the purpose? On the basis of that, on the basis of purpose, it could be formative, it could be summative, it could be diagnostic, it could be benchmarking, right? Coming to the methods, so what could be the methods? So the methods could be objectives, so that is MCQs, subjectives, essay writings, self-assessments can be done, or peer-to-peer assessment. This is a very important one, and even the new education policy is talking about the peer-to-peer assessment. Okay, what could be the formats? So written assessments, oral assessments, practical assessments, portfolio assessments, and student-based assessments. We are already knowing about all these assessments. This is just a reflection of all what we all are doing there in our classes on daily basis. Now, my question out of this slide comes: if I give one work to the children, that is to create a PowerPoint presentation on any one important topic, and to present this PowerPoint presentation in the class, it should fall under which category? Can you please give the answer there in the chat box? If I ask, okay, format, okay, format, you got it right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It was it. Acha. Okay, one more question I just wanted to ask. Is it a kind of assessment? Yes or no? Or you would suggest file making? Okay. Thank you so much. It was really wonderful to have these many answers. Thank you so much. All active participants here. Right. Can we move on to the next slide? Thank you so much, Shipra ji, Rini ji, Kalyan, Dimple, Dimpy, Manisha ji, Meena, Rahul. Thank you so much. Okay, all right. So assessment tools. What are the assessment tools? This is again going to be very, very important on. So assessment tools are of three different kinds. Four different kinds. One is unstructured. Second one is slightly structured. Third one is more structured. And the fourth one is most structured. So when we talk about the assessment, so when we talk about the unstructured, it's basically meetings, conversations, discussions there in the class. All right. Slightly structured. So we can talk about the interview schedules, questionnaires, quizzes, role plays, portfolios, peer-to-peer assessment. These are slightly structured. When we talk about more structured, classroom test, checklist, portfolios, practical files making, project work, concept maps, entry and exit card, these are more structured. And if we talk about the most structured, these are well organized examinations which covers almost all kind of competency levels. Then standardized examinations and published aptitude test. So these are the various assessment tools, and I'm sure that we are doing, but we were not knowing that these our assessments can fall under four different heads, and that too in a systematic way. To understand more about it, we will connect. All right, so can we move on to the next slide? All right. So this is the HPC report card. I'm sure that most of you have already seen it, right? If you have not seen it, you can download from the net also, or you can reach us back, right, for the HPC report card. All right. So this HPC report card covers, and the word which I got from this session is the 360-degree coverage of student progress throughout the academic year is called as holistic progress report card. I need not to explain it in detail, but yes, SQAAF covers the holistic progress report card also. And please download it, look into it, and you will find that SQAAF covers most of the points which is there in the holistic report card, holistic progress report card. I hope you are using that in your schools. How many of you are using this holistic progress report card in your school? Is it beneficial? Two questions: are you using, and is it beneficial? Okay, you can customize it, no problem, for the age groups. Very good, very good. Yes, Jagdeep ji, Sharmishta ji, Nisha ji, Kailash ji, Shipra ji, thank you so much. Avya ji, Mamta ji, thank you so much. Can we move on to the next slide? Next slide, please. Okay. So, when we talk about the NAS, SLAS, and SUFFLE, you are already aware about it. Let me just take you through it, right? What is NAS? NAS is National Assessment Survey, right? It is a national level assessment. If we talk about the SLAS, State Level Assessment Survey, it is done at a state level. When we talk about SUFFLE is a school level. And SUFFLE, there is a site also, right? You can explore. In Google, you can write SUFFLE and you can explore this site. So these are basically talking about the scope, purposes, frequency, assessment design, level of assessment, data usage, link of curriculum, and stakeholders. So basically, these are the different assessments you can take, and these are national level, state level, and school level assessments you can take. And this has got a clear record in where? In SQAAF. All right, we will move on to the next slide. Can we move on to the previous slide, please? Okay, so basically, like, in the white part where you can see under scope purpose, it is written what kind of examination it is, and what kind of questions it will be coming. So all these details have been given there. You can explore it in detail. This need not to be explained. Right, thank you so much, and move on to the next slide. All right, so these are the performance indicators. So we are basically three level of performance indicators. This is inceptive, then transient, then we have got stable, and then we are dynamic. So whenever we are filling the SQAAF documents and whenever we are filling the SQAAF there, please make sure that it cannot always be the dynamic evolving, right? It can be the inceptive level, it can be the transient level, depending on the kind of system you wanted to implement, whether this system is there since years or whether you are going to implement it in near future, or you have started 1 year or the 2 years back. So these are basically the performance indicators. All right, can we move on to the next slide? Okay, let's discuss. So what we need to discuss here: which approach in school assessment is most effective, right, in student progress and engagement? Can you write the answer there in the chat box? Which approach in school assessment most effectively drives student progress and, okay, emphasize practical application? Okay, B. Okay, B. Okay, mostly B. Okay. Okay. So you are clear and you all are wonderful educators. I'm so happy that, in today's session, all educators are well aware of, the pedagogical practices. Wonderful. Thank you so much. Why an effective why an effective approach matters? So can you answer for this? Can you answer for this? It's already written there. Promotes deeper learning, identification of the learning gaps, enhances student motivation. Any other point that you want to add in here? Why an effective approach matters? It caters the need of each and every child there in the class, including the inclusive education also. Yes, yes, absolutely. Identify learning gap and all. All right, let's move on to the next slide. Wonderful. Thank you so much for the wonderful response. All right, so here is a case study. Let's go to the case study. And the case study says here, enhancing pedagogy and assessment at Bright Future International School. We have just taken a dummy name of the school. In case if anyone's school name is Bright Future International School, please pardon us. Right. So, okay. So Bright Future International School was facing difficulties in optimizing its teaching methods and assessment strategies. Teachers were finding it challenging to implement modern student-centric pedagogy, and assessment were often not reflective of students' actual learning and understanding. This leads to disengagement in the classrooms and uneven academic performances, creating frustrations among students, teachers, and parents alike. I hope you understood what is the case study here. What is the problem here? All right, moving on to the next one. So can you move on to the next slide, please? Okay. So what is the solution? Solution is already there on the screen, but I want some innovative solution. Any innovative solution that you can come up with? All right, I'll take you through the solution. The solution is the school decides to undertake a comprehensive overhaul of the pedagogical plan and assessment practices, a series of professional development workshops. I already said that if there is something where some problems are there in the class and the teaching learning process is not happening properly, we need to immediately look into what? PDs, professional developments, right? Okay, micro teaching perhaps. Okay, all right, fine. But micro teaching is not bad, I think, right? Anyways, but not all the times. Sometimes it's good, not all the times. All right, focusing on active learning strategies, differentiation, and formative assessment techniques. Teachers were also engaged to adopt a blended learning approach, incorporating both traditional methods as well as the digital tools to cater the various learning styles. And I gave you one example. You remember, asking the children to, make a PowerPoint presentation and present there in the class, rather than going into the traditional way of teaching. You can always give different parts to different children, and all these parts can be integrated there in the class. Within a day or two, the whole chapter will be finished. Everybody will understand. There will be IT integration. There will be technology integration, right? And and later, the chapter can be summarized. All right. So I hope the learning gaps are clear here. What is the implementation? Over the course of 6 months, faculty members participated in a series of workshops, different trainings by CBSE. That includes training on inquiry-based learning. Please make it jot, because this is very, very important. Inquiry-based learning. Flipped classroom. How many of you are aware about the flipped classroom? Just say I. That's it. Okay, great. Great. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Poonamji, right. Flipped classroom and the uses of technology, for personalized learning. Simultaneously, how many of you use Chat GPT for it? For learning? Chat GPT. Right? See, right? See there in the chat box. See. Chat GPT. See. Okay. Nice. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I got the answer. Thank you so much. Everybody is participating. Thank you so much. So teachers are guiding. Teachers were guided to how to give constructive feedback and design assessment that measures student skills and knowledge. Okay, how many times you have really encountered that the children are not performing, and rather than focusing on ourselves, we are only focusing to the children. The children are not doing, they're not participating, they're not interested. Are we really looking to ourselves also that we require? Yes, thank you so much. Many a times, so many times. Thank you so much. Right, so this is what is the solution and this is what is the practical implementation. We need to analyze it, and accordingly we need to find out the solution and implementation. Can we move on to the next slide? Okay, so learning outcomes we have already discussed, but still I'll take you through. All as a result of these changes, Bright Future International School saw significant improvement in student performance. So this was the outcome. And what is the conclusion? The improvement in pedagogy and assessment practices at Bright Future International School highlights the positive impact of modernizing teaching methods and aligning assessment with student growth. So this is what is the conclusion. So we need to identify, we need to find out a solution, and we need to check whether the outcomes are in alignment with the problems that we have traced early, and there is a proper solution to it. Thank you so much. Let's move on to the next one. All right, so there is a question answer session. So can I have one or the two important questions which I can address?
Sure, sir. I'll be reading the questions.
Okay.
We have a question from Miss Anjana Goswami. So she's asking, how can we imbibe varied disciplines under various faculties?
Okay, so I think, if I'm not wrong, then the question is basically focusing how to imbibe different techniques so that we can cater the needs of each and every child. Okay, so basically, I think, we are discussing about various disciplines. So, this leads to two different questions, and I'll give you two different answers, along with the final answer. One is like, we have got different tools and techniques, which are already listed. Interdisciplinary learning is the way out. Yes, absolutely. Now, there are three kind of disciplines basically when we talk about it. Is interdisciplinary, intradisciplinary, multidisciplinary, and transdisciplinary approach. So when we talk about interdisciplinary approach, there are different disciplines when they combine together, when they come together, right, on some topic, that is called as interdisciplinary approach. When we when they combine together under one thought process, that is called as interdisciplinary approach. When we talk about different disciplines to try to bring it together, that is called as multidisciplinary approach. And the transdisciplinary approach is something which most of us we are doing there in the class. We are integrating this thing where we are integrating all these disciplines under one thought process and making the children do collaboration with different other fields also to achieve it. That is called as transdisciplinary approach. And one thing I would like to add in here, that transdisciplinary approach can be added to our curriculum and lesson planning so that it can cater the need of each and every child there in the class. And I'm sure, yes, including the CWSN also. I said each and every child. That means the children which are mentally challenged. I don't want to use this word, but for the better understanding, I'm using this word, mentally challenged also. The children which are physically challenged, the children with special needs, all kind of children, right? Yes, absolutely, special needs. Yes, absolutely. So, it can cater the need of each and every child. We need not to be going only with the chalk and talk method. We need not to be going only with the presentation method there in the class. We need not to be only going with the, one-sided, teaching learning process. We need not to be going with the, written, we need not to be going with the written examinations. We can go with different methods which are available, and it's all available there in the CBSE guidelines. All right, can we have the next question?
Sure, sir. We have another beautiful question from Ms. Cheshtha Vashisht. She is asking that she has a concern that in order to standardize classroom experiences, is not lesson planning essentially putting us in a box?
See, I'll tell you one thing, right? Lesson planning. See, for I'll tell you very clear and very practical example. If we go just like that there in the class, do you really think that you will be able to implement what you have really thought for, whether it is connecting or not? And in class, no, what happens? We are adults. Even we sometimes feel misguided when the topic is actually not connecting. So there should be a proper connect of the topic, and that is why the lesson planning is something very important. Now this is one thing. Now lesson planning we have to anyhow make so that we will be in sync with what we have taught, what we are teaching, and what we are going to teach. Second point is very important again, that nobody has stopped us to go away and teach the children something which is not the part of lesson planning. We are the teachers, we are the facilitators, we are the innovators, we can be the innovators there in the class, but lesson planning cannot be replaced with the free thinking. But I would always say, yes, we can go as per the lesson plan, and we can also go away from the lesson plan if you have got something extra to give, and something extra can be given at to the children at any point of time, in any subject, in any class, whether sports, language, subject, anything. It can be given anywhere, and even the principals or the head of the institutions are not going to stop you, and children and parents will be liking you. Yes, thank you so much. And should we move ahead?
Sure, sir. There is another question from Miss Shilpa Vora. She is asking, do we also need to plan our exploratory activities or leave it to develop on the go?
Okay. So I'll tell you one thing, that whenever we are planning anything, right? I generally, whenever when I used to be the principal, so I used to tell all my teachers that please make sure with all chapter planning, when we go with the chapter planning. So along with the chapter planning, there should be some additional activities. So plan for 4 activities, complete minimum of 3 activities. Then what is the learning outcome? How it is connecting with the real life situation? So my answer to your question is only one. Please go ahead with the planning. Go for extra planning also, whether you will be able to implement or not able to implement because of the time constraint or any other reason. But please make sure in your planning, put it as an important part, an integral part of your regular teaching learning process there in the class.
Okay, sir. Can we take the remaining questions in the later concluding Q&A session?
Sure.
Okay, sir.
Thank you, Shilpa ji. Yeah. Anjana ji has got one more question. I will take it at the end. Okay, so what is the conclusion here? Right. So the conclusion is effective pedagogy fosters an interactive student-centered learning. NEP, new education policy, is all talking about student-centered, teacher-centered, student-centered, teacher-centered. Why it is saying student-centered, teacher-centered? Reason is that these are the only two stakeholders which who spend time together with each other, and they are the one who are responsible to create a wonderful teaching learning environment within the class, while assessment provide valuable feedback that guides instruction, supports students reflection, and ensures continuous growth in both academic and personal development of the student. So that is what in holistic report card also it is mentioned. That with every subject you need to put in the real feedback, rather than giving a just a gist answer that the child is doing okay, the child is doing exceptionally well, but where are the areas where the child requires the improvement? So this is something which is very important. All right, it will take another 2 minutes. Just please wait for another 2 minutes and we are going to finish off. All right, please move on to the next slide. Okay, SQAAF is mandatory. Is it mandatory? No, 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 no. Actually, the total number of working days are not same for all the schools. It differs. It differs. For pre-primary, generally we go with 178, teaching days. The pedagogical plan is 178 days, right? But it again depends on, whether the school is working on Saturday or not, right? So it is ranging from 190 to 240, right? And if I talk about the total number of working days, so 210 to 220 working days are considered as the best working days for any standard school. Okay, all right. So SQAAF is it mandatory? Yes, it is mandatory for all the schools. When to submit? So February to December is the deadline where you can take your SQAAF assessment for the school. Where to submit? You need to go to SQAAF portal. You need to use the LOC user ID and password. Yes, absolutely, Gangaji. 210 is a good working day, right? Uh, right. So then coming to what to submit, SQAAF self-assessment along with implementation plan, right? What would school prepare for? It is basically 1500 plus documents and evidences as per SQAAF handbook. All right. How will CBSE inspection occurs? So the peer assessor team, the PAT team, will be coming to the school for the assessment. Right. Thank you, Gaurav ji. Right. Can we move on to the next slide? Okay. So here is a gist. Here is a complete gist, right? How many total number of documents and evidences are required? 1,500 plus documents and evidences are required. So in pedagogy, curriculum and assessment, 502 documents and evidences are required. Infrastructure 365, human resources 176, inclusive practices 125. Then management and governance 171, leadership 118, beneficiary satisfaction 101. So lot many documentation, lot much of documentation is required, lot many documents are required. I hope you are all ready for it. All right, coming to the next one. Next slide, please. Okay, so CBSE inspection happens how? So how CBSE SQAAF inspections are conducted? It is basically, at random basis or on school demand also it can be done. Mostly basically it happens, when school is going for the upgradation or extension of affiliation, right? So this inspection happens that time also. And the descriptions and inspections of SQAAF is already, projected. We have already discussed it in detail. Let's move on to the next slide. I have got all wonderful questions. Two questions I have got for you all. Right, we will take it at the end of the slide, and I'm sure that this is going to be ending in another 1 or 2 minutes more. And I appreciate the patience kept by everybody here. Thank you so much for that. All right, a closer look at SQAAF document 1. So it's 1.1. It's curriculum and pedagogy. 1.2. Right, it is talking about teaching learning process. You can see the number of evidences here: 91, 51, 82, 52, 53, 93, 80. Right. So these are the different documents and reports which are required under curriculum, pedagogy, and assessment. All right. So let's move on to the next slide. Okay, so this is very, very important circular by CBSE. I hope it is visible to all of you. And the CBSE says that it is open from 1st of February and it is going to close on 31st December for this academic year, for the new academic year. So kindly make sure to go there and to log in and to complete it, or you can pass it to your SQAAF committee. I am sure that you are aware about the SQAAF committee. There is a SQAAF committee which is required. All right. We'll move on to the next slide. So from here, Luneblaze team is going to take over. And thank you so much, everybody, for listening me patiently. And I'm sure that I have, tried addressing all the queries of yours. But still, if you have got queries, please do not hesitate to send the queries. We'll be more than happy to answer it. It's over to Luneblaze team.
Thank you so much sir, for this interactive and wonderful session. And the way you have explained various strategies for improving pedagogical and assessment practices were very knowledgeable. And as Sir has already briefed about the requirement of all the documents and evidences for SQAAF, now we will be providing an overview of Luneblaze, how Luneblaze can assist school with all these documentation and policies and improvement plans. So firstly, let's have an overview of Luneblaze. Luneblaze having 8+ years of experience in accreditation, previously helping colleges with NAC, NBI, and IRS. And now we are also supporting schools with the SWAF implementation by offering a comprehensive end-to-end solution for accreditation and assessment. So we at Luneblaze help schools efficiently organize and manage the SWAF data, including various documents, policies such as curriculum and calendars, and evidence for events like competitions, workshops, orientations, etc. Now let's look in depth at how Luneblaze can assist schools. Kirti, can we please move to the next slide? Thank you. So here we offer over free 1,500+ pre-framed document policies and an evidence management platform to store all the records of various functions, competition, workshops, etc. We all know that managing tasks and meeting deadlines can be challenging. So here with Luneblaze's workflow management system, we can assign the task or particular domain to the respective teacher and can also set deadlines to monitor their progress and ensure timely completion. Next is continuous learning through monthly training session. As most of you are already aware that Luneblaze provides training sessions every month led by our SQAAF experts and advisors. These sessions are designed to improve faculty knowledge and application of SQAAF standards. Apart from this, we conduct regular review meetings to share SWAP updates, new feature, and to check on the progress made so far, which help us be aligned and identify any areas for improvement. We also provide 24/7 consultancy support via call, mail, and WhatsApp whenever required. Next, SQAAF self-assessment report filing. So we support schools with the annual SQAAF filing on the CBSE portal, where we guide schools to the do's and don'ts of the self-assessment, ensuring that the evaluation is honest and constructive, not just a checklist exercise. We also do conduct document audit and mock inspections. So now to provide a practical overview of Luneblaze, how Luneblaze helps schools with all these documents and workflow management, we will now take you to the Luneblaze portal where we'll be presenting all the documents required for SQAAF and how a school can manage their document and evidences. So for that, I'm sharing my screen. Okay, so this is the Luneblaze dashboard. So where we have some quick links, and through this SQAAF option, we can get access to all the documents. And firstly, we'll be discussing about how to manage the workflow of the school. Then we will take you to the document and policy part. So through ABC Public School, from here, we have two options: manage account and log out. We have to go to the manage account. Here we have few options like profile, basic info, additional details, login details, and then comes the workflow management. So once we click on the workflow management, here we need to add the details of the teacher to which we would like to assign a particular domain or subdomain or can be a standard. So for now, I'm adding just on a random basis. These are the details of a teacher. Then we have to click on save option. Here we'll get two parts like SQAAF and save changes. We have to click on SQAAF, and here we can assign a single domain to a teacher, and even can assign a single subdomain and a single standard as well. So if we would like to assign a subdomain, then we can click on a particular domain and then go standard. Same goes for the standard. Click on a subdomain, then choose a particular standard. So here I would like to assign, suppose this particular domain. So I'll click on this one, and then I have to click the Save Changes option. Here we can see to Ms. Priyanka, Curriculum, Pedagogy and Assessment, that is the first domain has been assigned. So this is how we manage the workflow by assigning particular domains to the respective teachers. Now let's go to the documentation part. Here we have to go to the dashboard again. At the dashboard, we have a SQAAF option. We have to click over here. Here comes the form for 24. This is for 24-25. And here we have few options. We have to click on update to get access to all the 1500 plus documents. Once we click on update, we will get this page where we have all the 7 domains mentioned over here. And under each domain, we have certain subdomains as well. In the first one, curriculum, pedagogy, and assessment, 526 is written over here. That means the total number of documents. These are the total number of documents in this particular domain. And 316, the infrastructure, 176, and human resource, and so on. Now, if we talk about the document part, so we have to click on the curriculum planning, that is 1.1 subdomain, and we will get some standards under each subdomain. The first standard is principal and teachers are familiar with spirit and content of NCF and recommendations of NEP. So if we click on this one, we'll get few levels, the 4 levels, and under each level we have to prepare certain documents. First one is school curricular, pedagogical, and assessment policy for each state as per new curricular and pedagogical structure. So let's click on update option. Okay, so once we click on update option, it will take us to the document part. There is the whole policy. From here we can maximize. So in this policy, we have provided a pre-framed format of written structure, which constitute all the 4 stages, 5, 3, 3, 4, and the policy is based on the curricular philosophy, pedagogical approaches, and the assessment practices. So this is the pre-framed sample that we have provided on our platform. We can go through these policies or documents, and we can make the required changes as per the school's requirements. So, for example, this one, encouragement of self-directed and project-based learning is not applicable in our school for now, so we can remove this point. That means this document is totally editable. So, from here, we can remove this point. And if we would like to add on some more, then we can do that as well. So, after this, we have some additional policies and conclusion and the school name and signature. So this is how a policy will look like. If we move on to the next document, from here, we click on the next. We move on to the next document is minutes of departmental meeting reflecting the discussion on NCF, position paper, NCRT, NEP. So here we have already provided a framework where we have to do some changes, like we need to change the date, the time, and the location. We need to add on the list, we need to add the list of attendees. Agenda is already, we have provided it, the minutes and opening remarks, presentation on NCF and NEP, who was the presenter. The points are already there. We can add, if you would like to, then discussion on position papers, NCRT, NEP implementation strategies. Again, we need to add the name of the presenter. The action items, in action items, we have to mention the name of the departmental member who will be responsible for this particular action. Then comes the timeline for implementation, closing remarks, next meeting, meeting adjourned, minutes prepared by which teacher. And then comes the main part, the geotagged images. So for certain evidence, for certain documents, we need to prepare geotagged images. And like we have this document as a minutes of meeting. We can write whatever we want, but to prove that we have conducted the session in our school, we must have some geotagged images. So for that, we can add it over here. Now, next for document is orientation program of NCF and NEP. Again, the same process. The document is already there. The framework is already here. We just need to go through it. We need to make some changes as per our school requirements, and we are good to go. And the document is fine. So, if anyone would like me to open any particular document, a policy among any certain any particular domain or subdomain, please let me know. I'll open that one.
Ms. Priyanka, we have a request from Miss Saida. She wants to see the lesson plan. Can you show us?
Sure. From here, we can search as well. So here are some lesson plans in 1.1.2, 1.1.3, 1.1.3 again. So let me open this one. So here we have just provided some suggestions how we can include some activities in our lesson plans and all. So this like lesson plan reflecting integrated cross-curricular approach to learning and enhancement in skills and competencies of 21st century. So here we have provided some suggestions like in lesson plan 1 for science and mathematics grade 6. This could be the objective, the materials required, and what could be the activities here. As per the 21st century skills, we have provided these details. Like for the subject English language arts for grade 9, this is the objective and the material required. Then comes the activity step. Same for the lesson plan 3. Then again, lesson plan 4, the 21st century skill enhancement, subject is information and communication technology for grade 8. Objective is to develop digital literacy and problem solving skills through a multimedia project. These are the materials required and these are the activities there. So this will help in creating the lesson plan. Any other document? Is there any request for any other document or should I move ahead?
We can move ahead.
Okay. So this is how we organize all the 1500 documents and policies. And I think Ms. Chesta was also asking like how can we get such information at a consolidated platform. So this is where Luneblaze will help you like by providing all the 1500 documents at one place, and also we can record all the evidences at one place where we just need to make some adjustment according to our school requirements, and then we are good to go. So we can also you can also create a dummy account so that you can get access to our platform. So I'll show you the steps how to create a dummy account for that. Let me log out from here. So we need to browse the Luneblaze portal down. Then here we get an option for start your accreditation journey. We have to click over here. Then here we can see sign up for demo account. We have to click here, and then we have to add certain details like institution name, email, password, confirm password, country code, phone number, school type, school address, upload logo, and then submit. So your account will create. This account will be available or will be valid only for 1 week, and you will be able to access only the documents under the subdomain 1.1. Kirti, can you please move on to the next slide? Yes. So here we have provided the QR code as well. So either you can scan this QR code to create a demo account, or you can simply go to the Luneblaze portal and sign up from there. So Kirti, can you please move on to the next one again? So we hope this overview has provided a glimpse into how Luneblaze can support schools with these SQAAF implementation. Moving ahead, We are incredibly proud to share that we are currently supporting over 100 plus schools on their SQAAF journey, and among these there are some renowned institutions like GD Goenka, Evergreen Public Schools, GPS, and many more, both in India and internationally, including Alien Junior School, Indian Language School, etc. We are excited to continue this journey and look forward to assisting you on your own SQAAF journey, helping your institutions achieving goals and with the same dedication and excellence. For more detailed information, or if you would like to like a personalized demonstration of our product, please feel free to contact us at the number mentioned below. Our team will surely assist you. And thank you all for joining us today. Now, I would like to hand over the session to Ms. Katie.
So, thank you very much, Dr. Abhishek and Ms. Priyanka, for such a wonderful explanation about the assistance provided by Luneblaze to schools in their SCORE implementation journey. Moving further, we at Luneblaze organize monthly training sessions on SCORE on a regular basis. As you all can see on the screen, in the month of March, another SCORE session on SCORE Domain 2 infrastructure will be organized. Um, with all that said, let's move further to the concluding Q&A session so that all your questions are answered well. And please keep putting all your questions in the chat box and we will be happy to answer. So, sir, can I read out the left out questions for you?
Yeah, please.
So, we have a question from Miss Aparna. She was asking that in the academic session for class 8, I asked my students to perform a drama on the literature session. In my opinion, this will engage more students. I want your opinion, sir.
Absolutely, because the more creative we are there in the class, the more we'll be closely moving to the hearts of the children, the more effective we'll be there in the class, and that is what is the purpose of teaching there in the class. You did a wonderful job, and a big applause for your creativity. This is one wonderful way to engage children and make the teaching learning process more interesting and creative.
Okay, so we have another question from Miss Aparna that there is an extremely slow learner in my fourth class. He does not even know ABCD and not even parents are helping me. How to deal with the student? Please show me the way.
Okay. So, as I said in my session that, because, this is going to be a little long talk, but put all this long talk into few words. Please make sure to explore Kath Murdoch Enquiry Cycle module. Right, I am talking of some module which the CBSE has taken into bits and pieces. So Kath Murdoch Enquiry Cycle module, the moment you take, it basically encourages each and every child there in the class to participate, to think, and to respond. You need not to be going after individual children. Then the second thing which the CBSE is going to introduce is the spiral learning. It is also it is also called as progression, and it is also called as spiral learning. So this is going to be implemented by the CBSE soon, and the spiral learning is the moment you learn, the same very moment you progress to the next level. So our lesson plans, what we prepare basically is going to be in such a way that it caters the need of all children when you add in these enquiry cycle modules to your teaching learning strategies in your lesson plans.
Can we move on to the next question, sir?
Yes.
Okay, so Miss Anjana is asking, some students are least interested or involved. It shatters our planning. What to do?
Okay, so this has got many questions. Children, they dislike the class due to several reasons. It's not only the pedagogical plans. Sometimes they dislike the teachers, sometimes they dislike the dresses of the teacher, sometimes they dislike the language of the teacher, sometimes they dislike the pedagogical plans. Only one thing is there, that as a teacher, our responsibility is to get connected with our children wonderfully through whatever means we can. And the second thing, that are plans, like one of the teachers said that I asked my children to go for a role play. So you can go for a role play, quizzes, and what I have experienced and what I did in my classes, I always tried to make the class more interesting. I was not worried about syllabus completion, because anyhow that is to be completed. So I tried putting my classes into such a classroom, such wonderful, interesting classrooms, where I used to start with something interesting, something which is out of the syllabus but is of the interest of the child. So children used to get the interest, and the moment they start getting the interest in whatever the teacher is teaching, I'm sure the teacher will be able to teach whatever the teacher wants to teach.
Okay, so we have another question from Miss Yalvaruni. How do we incorporate the regular lesson plans with inclusive?
Okay, so this question has been answered actually. I have already answered this question twice, because what happens that whenever we are preparing the lesson plan, please make sure this is a Supreme Court order, this is a CBSE order, this is a CBSE chairman order, this is a state government order, this is a High Court order. Please do not accept inclusive education as a special inclusion. They all children, those who are special children, they have got the right to study in a normal school. So they are not special. Only one thing is there, and I'll tell you, right? And this I'm telling you not for the first time. I've been there in UK, around 12 to 13 years back, and this was already there in their educational plan. Inclusive education was always there in the plan. Only one thing is there, that we need to be patient, we need to be cool, we need to be calm, we need to be understanding, because lots of see, being teacher is not so easy. Just coming to the class, taking the class, reading between the chapter, explaining, and taking the exam. It's not about that. It requires lots of patience, lots and lots of patience. So I would say that whenever we are preparing the lesson plan, please make sure that if you use all the tools and techniques, I'm 100% sure that your lesson plan is not designed for the normal children. It is designed for every single kind of learner, whether it is special child, whether it is slower learner, whether it is ace learner, everybody.
Okay, so Miss Neetu Singla is asking, students are not same, then how to prepare lesson plan for all of them?
So this question is actually in alignment with the earlier one only. Yes, student cannot be same. 5 fingers are not same, right? All humans are not same. All animals are not same. All birds are not same. All trees are not same. So obviously we can expect that that all the children there in the class will not be same. It's very clear. And it's a harsh fact, but it's a fact. Now, only one thing is there, when we are going in the class, right? Do we do some exercise that what way we are teaching our children are getting, or children should adapt to my teaching ways, or we should adapt to the ways of learning of the children? So if we go with the second way, I am sure that the teaching learning process will be happy.
So there is another question from Miss Saida. Are the number of working days same for all stages?
No, not possible, because what happens, pre-primary, they are somewhere around 170, 169 to 170, 168 to 170, days. Now for primary section, it may vary up to 180 to 185 days. For primary section, it will vary to 210 days. For senior secondary, sometimes it varies from 200 to 245 days, because they've been called to the school for extra classes during the summer break also. So it depends, it cannot be same. And it differs from school to school, but what is the bracket is 190 to 245. That is a good bracket.
Okay, so we have another last question from Miss Sagarika. Can you show the slides once again? So I would like to address this one that we will be providing you with the recorded video of this session in the coming week in the SCORE WhatsApp group for teachers. So you can access it over there. And I am going to unmute the participants. So if anyone wants to interact with Dr. Abhishek verbally, they can.
I would definitely say that this group was really very good. This group was really, really very good. I'm so happy. They were so participative.
So is there any participant who would like to ask any question, or we can move ahead?
Very good evening, ma'am.
Very good evening, ma'am.
Yeah, I would just like to know, due to technical jargon, I could not get the number of working days. If it can be please repeated kindly, sir.
Okay. So, the question which I got basically was that what could be the good number of working days, and all working days are same or is it differing? CBSE has put in a bracket of 190 working days to 200 working days, which got revised in new education policy, and it is talking about 190 to 245 working days. In one school also, these number of working days differs from section to section. So when we talk about section, so I am talking about 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4, and it differs. So good number of working days are 190 to 245 working days.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much.
So thank you very much. Thank you very much, Miss Minnie, for asking the question. Anyone else?
Okay, so I think there are further no more questions. We can always conclude, and in case if you have got further questions, you can always put it there in the WhatsApp group. I think that will be better. Some hands are raised. Just check it out if they want to ask something.
I would like to request all the raised hands that if you have any questions, you can please put it down in the chat box, or you can unmute yourselves to ask it out verbally. We can wait for 1 or 2 minutes for your questions.
Yeah, definitely, ma'am. I'm asking about the recording of this session. Can any link provide us through email or our WhatsApp group, ma'am?
So we will be providing you the recording of this session in the coming week in the SCORE Teachers Association WhatsApp group. So you can
Okay.
access it over there.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other questions, please? Okay, so moving ahead, as we conclude, we extend our deepest gratitude to Dr. Abhishek, Principal Advisor for EDIFY Group of Schools, for leading this impactful session. We are also excited to highlight Luneblaze partnership with EDIFY Group of Schools, a collaboration founded on shared values, innovation, and a steadfast commitment to nurturing quality, excellence across all schools. Many again thanks to Dr. Abhishek for his dedication to elevating education across all EDIFY institutions and assisting our dear audience in the session through his valuable insights. We have learned a lot, and your input on pedagogy and assessment in SCORE Domain 1 is truly valuable to all of us. Special thanks to all of you for your active participation and involvement. Your engagement truly made the session very lively, and hope all your questions and queries have been answered well. And as we regularly organize such sessions on various topics and domains of SCORE, we would be honored to have you in those sessions as well. Lastly, I would like to inform you all that the feedback form link is being shared during this session only, and no link will be shared after the session concludes. So do check it out in the chat box, and the participation certificates will be provided within one upcoming week as per your responses. Thank you everyone in advance for your feedback. Thanks a lot everyone, and best wishes for your journey through SCORE. We look forward to welcoming you again in the upcoming squad session, and wishing you a great weekend ahead. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank
It
you
was
so
it was really wonderful, and I would request the Luneblaze team to keep on organizing these sessions. I think these sessions are important for everybody.
Yes, sir, absolutely. And we will continue to organize such wonderful sessions with all our efforts. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.